Hello, and welcome back to Literally Heinous Summer Edition. Thank you so much for listening. Today is an exciting one, kind of crazy, but I'm sorry I haven't posted in a while because I've just been really busy. I don't know how else to explain it. Summer, people told me that summer in New York would be crazy, but I guess I just didn't really understand, but it feels like, I don't know. First of all, it's hot as hell. Like I have two fans pointing at me right now, so that's why I look like I'm in a Pantene commercial with my hair blowing in the wind. We got like an AC unit in our apartment, like a window one, but it's all the way in me and Jack's bedroom, so it's like on the total other side of the apartment, so it gets super hot in my office, the LHHQ, literally heinous headquarters. Other huge news, two of my best friends from college moved here, which is literally the craziest thing ever. So Zoe, my best friend, moved here at the end of April. And then in June, Dana and Vivi, my best friends from college, my big and my little from my sorority, moved here and moved in together. So the last few months have been like just so like nonstop. Like it's the craziest thing in the world. Like my three best friends moved to New York and they're all pretty close to me. Like Dana and Vivi are in the East Village and Zoe's in NoHo. So it's just been like really crazy and like everyone's meeting each other. So getting to introduce like all my friends has been so much fun. But I did want to talk about something special. My delusional state, my delusions have brought me to hosting my own comedy show. And I sold it out in 24 hours, which was literally like the craziest thing that I never could have imagined that. So I want to talk about like how I came up with the idea and how I'm doing it. So as of right now, I'm about 2.5 weeks away. So the event is August 2nd. So back in May, I had the idea, the seedling. So I took a level one stand-up class in Brooklyn at Brooklyn Comedy Collective, and I really loved it. Like I'd done stand-up a little before in college, and I really liked it, and I knew that moving to New York, that was something that like I wanted to keep doing as a means to like be creative and to meet people. And I knew there's a really flourishing stand-up scene in New York, and it'd be a really good way to meet people. So I did a stand-up class and really loved it. And then I had my stand-up show on April 26th. And it was so fun. It was literally like the best night of my life. But none of my friends could come, which was kind of sad. But I will shout out Nick from We Are Family and me and Jack's friends, Kyle and Megan, who were able to come, and my friend Jonathan. So, okay, sorry. I feel bad saying none of my friends were able to come because I did have friends that were able to come, but like Jack wasn't able to come. Zoe didn't move there. Like none of my like girly pop like homies came. Like I was really bummed that Jack couldn't come. Um, and but it was so fun. Like I went first in my stand-up set and the crowd was electric and it was just like an amazing night. And after that, my goal was to be booked on a show by July, by the end of July. That was my goal. And I know that sounds like kind of like, whoa, like you're getting booked on a show. Like it's not like the Comedy Cellar, okay? Like the comedy in New York is like people have shows constantly. Like it's not that crazy. Like getting booked on a show is cool, but like you don't get paid for them usually. Like usually it's just another comedian in Brooklyn who's just like reserving an event space. So it was my goal to be booked on something by the end of July. I went to my friend Jonathan's birthday party and I was talking to some people that were in my improv group, Fishbowl, and they're a little bit older than me about this. And they've all kind of like dabbled here and there in the comedy scene. They all kind of like do different stuff. And I was telling them about my goal. One of them was just like, why not just book your own show? And I was like, oh my God, like you are delusional. Like I could never do that. Like I like, huh? Like I've only been in one show and it was a class show. And he was like, yeah, I mean, and if it's your first show and like you want it to be really great, like just book your own. So ever since I started like doing stand up and kind of posting about it and like having a show, I get people asking me all the time like, "Oh, I want to come to your show. I want to come to your show." Like now that Zoe's here, Dana and Vivi are here and like they didn't get to go, they're like, "You got to do another one." And I am very well aware that when you start a creative endeavor, whether that's like podcasting, comedy, art, any sort of like extracurricular thing, the most that your friends will care and be interested in it is like right when you start. And over time, the longer you keep doing something, like the interest and like excitement from your friends does decline over time. That's totally normal. Like I think that it's a really important thing to remember when you do something creative. Like, you're everyone is gonna like support you at first, and it's not like people stop supporting you, but everyone will be really excited for you at first. And then kind of like over time, whatever. I mean, I knew that from like my improv days in college. Like when I first started doing improv, like my friends would come, and then whenever I'd meet a new friend in college, like they'd come to my first couple shows. But like I had improv shows like 3 times a month. And like over time, I just kind of, I even like stopped inviting my friends, or like my friends wouldn't really come. But like every now and then I would tell them, like, okay, this one's a good one. So I'm very keenly aware of the fact that the most people are interested in watching me do stand up is now. So then I was just thinking, I was like, why not just host my own show? Like, I could probably sell it out. I knew that I wanted to sell it out from the beginning. So I went home and I made a list of every single person that I know that lives in New York that I feel comfortable sending an invitation to and inviting. And I was able to come up with 50 people right off the bat, which was kind of crazy because I didn't think I knew that many people. But I was like pulling people from like out of the woodwork. So I knew that there was 50 people that I could invite. And then I started thinking about venues. So it's really not hard to book event space in New York. Like pretty much every restaurant, bar, coffee shop has event space here. And that's definitely something that took me by surprise. I mean, I guess it was just not really anything I thought about, but like having been in like doing comedy for a couple months and like going to comedy shows, like there's so many random places that I've been to for a comedy show and been like, oh, I didn't know they had an event space here. So I'm like, okay, there's no shortage of venues. So Jack said, we were literally walking this restaurant that I love called El Santo. Jack and I've been there a bunch of times. It's just this really cool Mexican restaurant. It's very like airy and open and like big open doors and windows and just like a really, really good spot. And a few weeks before then in May, we walked by El Santo and they were having this like huge block party like in the alley. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that they had an event space. Like they had a DJ and there were people like spilling out into the alley. And I was like, oh, that looks so cool. And Jack was like, why not reach out to El Santo? So I email El Santo and I just say, like, I'm looking to host a comedy show, probably like 50 people. Like, what does it cost? And they respond to me, $280 for 6 hours. I was like, what? Like, that cannot be real. And it included like AV equipment, DJ stuff, lights, microphones, everything. So I just kind of like booked it. And I didn't book it right then and there, but I was kind of just like, okay, like, I guess I'm going to do that. And I'm telling you that like from that birthday party in May, it was on a Sunday when my friend gave me the idea to host my own stand-up show, to creating the list, to finding the venue. That was 24 hours. It was like the cadence of this show has really been like everything. Oh my God, I'm like too scared to even say that out loud. But like kind of from conception to like manifestation, everything like kind of just came together in a way that like I didn't really expect it to. And I had a lot of disappointment from my stand-up show that like my friends couldn't come. Like Emily and Carmel, my two best friends from my stand-up class, like each of them had 15 people there. Like there were people was like half the audience, like everyone, like people's parents came, like people's significant others came. And I was grateful for like my friends who did come, and like a few of them had to leave after my set, like which was fine. But like I had this kind of like longing for like why weren't there more people there for me? And so I was kind of even nervous to plan this because I didn't want to like feel that disappointment again. But when I got the numbers from El Santo and I kind of thought it was a little too good to be true, like I really thought that they'd left out a zero. I was like, okay, like maybe I have some juice here. So then my next step was asking Emily and Carmel from my stand-up class and like telling them and like picking a date too. I kind of like for the date, there was no rhyme or reason to picking Friday, August 2nd. Like I kind of just picked it because I think like I knew I wanted to do a Friday, and it was May when I did it. And I thought that like August would be like enough time to prepare. So I kind of just like said August 2nd to the venue guy, and like he said it was okay. And then I threw it out to Emily and Carmel and just said like, And when I was like nervous to tell them because I was like, I feel like I sound fucking crazy. Like, I feel like now that I'm kind of looking back on it, I was definitely like, girl, why are you freaking out? Like, but at the time when I said to Emily and Carmel, I like took a deep breath and I was like, okay, I know this sounds crazy, but I think I'm going to host my own show. And the reason I like kind of felt like it was crazy is because other people in my stand-up class, like they kind of like kicked around like hosting shows and like, oh, maybe one day we could do that. And then some people were like, we need to get more experience before we host a show. But I just like really feel like I'm built different and like I'm just a really good party planner and show producer. Like in college for my improv team, like I put on tons of shows and like the Tides Festival, like our comedy festival. And when I was a tour guide at Ohio State, I was a social captain and did like the ambassador prom and rented out a venue. And even like at We Are Family, when Taylor and I put on the talent show, like I just like feel like I have a knack for like event planning. And so that I think is what gave me the delusion to just like throw this together. So I asked Emily and Carmel and said, like, can you do August 2nd? And they both could do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay. So once I knew that I had like Emily and Carmel to be on the lineup and like support me, and I knew that like they would bring a ton of people, then that's when I was like, okay, like I think I can do this. Cause I was really leaning on Emily and Carmel having friends to invite to the show too, in case if like I couldn't fill it with my list of 50. My next step was a DJ. So I honestly had this vision for my comedy show a long time ago, like back when I lived in Detroit. And I had this vision of me hosting a comedy show and dance party in New York. And I didn't know how I would do it and how I would execute it and what it would look like. But I just knew that I wanted to host a high energy, fun, exciting comedy show with like cool, pretty, funny, like hot, relatable comics for like an hour of like very easily digestible comedy, followed by like a fun dance party with like a DJ and everyone like dressed really nice and like looking so good and like photographers and everything. Like this was a vision that I've had for about a year. And when I was living in Detroit and kind of like walking around picturing it, I was like, how the fuck am I going to do that? Like, like where do I even start? And I think that I was a little taken aback by like how easy, like not easy, but like how, oh, it's like really not that hard to book a space. And like the other thing with booking event spaces is like they don't vet you. And I was kind of like worried about that because I was like, oh, who am I? Like I've done one stand-up show and I think I can host my own event. Like why would I, like who do I think I am? But when I emailed the venue, they don't like ask for your credentials. Like you can just kind of do it. If you just like sell the event out or if you just like have people that give them money, they don't really care if like your comedy is good or not. So I think that's also what kind of took me by surprise, like a pleasant surprise. I was like, okay, I guess I just can do that. So then my next step was finding a DJ. And I knew that I wanted my friend Dylan from my stand up class to DJ because he DJs around New York and he did stand up with us. Like he's performed, he understands like the comedy scene, and he's just like so fun. And I was so nervous to ask him because at this point, like everything kind of fell into place. Like I got the venue that I wanted at a really cheap price. I only asked one venue. My two friends can do it. And then I like shopped it out to like my main best friends, like Zoe, Dana, Vivi, Jack, like all of them can do it. And then once I kind of got like my core group, that's when I was like, okay, like time to ask the DJ. So I asked Dylan and I'm like, hey, are you around slash would you do this? And he responds immediately like, yeah, I'm in. And I'm just like, oh my God, like what can't I do? So then that's when it kind of like it definitely like materialized and became a thing. And I paid for the venue, I booked it myself. I just like Zelled the guy, shout out Camilo, super easy to work with. And then that is when it like kind of became official. And then that's when I started freaking out. I was on my like euphoric planning high for about 2 weeks when it was all I could think about, all I could talk about. Like I was going around every single person I met in New York telling them about my show. Like I was taking people's phones and going on their calendar and adding my show. And it was like all I could talk about was all I wanted to talk about. Like I had this whole elevator pitch to everyone and like everyone that I asked like could go, which I mean, yeah, people were just like drunk being like, yeah, I'll be there. But like I was obsessed with talking about it. It was all I could talk about. And then I kind of got like freaked out when it started becoming real. And that was about a month ago when I realized like it's not that far away. And then I hit my first roadblock. So, a little backstory, I originally wanted to call my event literally the best night ever. I thought it would be like a really cute homage to like my podcast, Literally Heinous. And when I was like talking about the event and like conceptualizing it and like shopping it around, like I just kept repeating it. Like, I want it to be literally the best night ever. Like, I want everyone to have literally the best night ever. And that's kind of what just like came to me. And so I thought that literally the best night ever would be like a cute name. And that stuck for like 6 weeks. And I was calling it LB&E. Like all my friends were calling it LB&E. And I just kind of got used to calling it that. So about a month ago, I was posting it on my close friends story to the homies as like a save the date, literally the best night ever. And I'm tagging El Santo. And I go to El Santo's Instagram page and I see that there's another comedy show hosted at El Santo called Best Night Ever Comedy Show and Dance Party. I was like, the fuck? Like, I could not believe my eyes. I go to this comedy show page. It's like this show that's been running in New York for like a full year at El Santo. They like the pictures and everything was exactly what I was planning. It was like an hour of comedy plus like DJ and dancing, and they had like a photographer, and like it was a whole party and everyone like looked really cool, and it was called Best Night Ever. And I was like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe this is happening at like the same event." So I was like, obviously I have to change my name. Like, I'm not gonna like keep the same name. And like the people that run the event, like we have tons of mutual follows. So like how like and host a show called Best Night Ever, and then someone comes in a year later hosting a show at the same venue calling it literally the best night ever, like that looks so bad. And so I was just like, thank God I realized, first of all, because that would have been just like so embarrassing. Like, truly, it was such a coincidence. I had like zero idea. Like, I was shocked. And I was like bummed after that. And it kind of like threw me through a bit of a loop because like I spent the first like month or 6 weeks of planning this, like feeling on top of the world. And it's like, I feel so dumb looking back. And it's not that I thought that I had like the most original idea ever by like planning a comedy show and dance party. But like there is a part of me that thought that like I like had a really good idea. Like I had a really good thing going. And I think it's because like I pitched it and like launched it to like my friends who don't do comedy and just like people like friends of friends that I've met in the city through like Jack and Zoe, and like everyone that I've pitched it to has been like, oh my God, like what an amazing idea. Like that sounds so much fun. I'm like, I know, right? And then to see that there's a carbon copy show, exact like the same exact verbiage of what I want to do, like the pictures that I want, the photographer with the exact same name in the exact same location. I was just like, okay, I guess I'm not very original. And it kind of like made me a little sad. I'm not gonna lie. I was like pretty excited and I really loved the name and I really got used to the name. And I was like already making graphics and stuff. So I like had to go back to Canva. And from there, I just kind of knew I was like, I'm just gonna have to like go with like Literally Heinous because it is my brand and I might as well like have some continuity. I shopped around a couple ideas like Literally Heinous Live or Literally Heinous Comedy, but I just did Literally Heinous and Friends because I thought that'd be cute. I love the like and Friends thing because it kind of reminds me of like Barney and Friends. And I've just been calling it Lit Hain, even though sometimes I slip and call it LB&E, but it was I'm glad that I realized it because I wouldn't have wanted to like cause problems. Not that I think there would be problems, but like whatever. So I realized that and then knew that I wanted to take pictures for this show. And my friend Colin, he takes pictures and is a photographer on the side, but I think he's like leaning more into it full time, which is really cool. And I asked him a long time ago, back when I was in my like euphoric planning phase, like I texted him, I'm like, Colin, like I'm going to host a comedy show. Like, do you want to take my promo pictures? And he says, yes, of course. And it kind of like rolls around. I knew that I wanted to like start promoting the show at the end of June. Like that was my deadline. And then when like midway through June started approaching and I'm like, oh, I gotta start promoting this in like 2 weeks. And like the best night ever gate and everything happened. Like I just like it's not that I didn't want to do it anymore, but I was just like I got cold feet. And then I knew that I had to take pictures for this. And it's not that I guess I didn't have to take pictures for it, but like I wanted to take pictures for it so that I could like promote it and just to like cement it as something new and to just like give it some life. So I'm talking to Colin and we're talking about like when we're going to take pictures and like he's unemployed and I work 9 to 5 and it's getting really hot out. And like in June, it started getting really hot during the day. And I'm like, okay, well, the last thing I want is to be taking pictures outside, like sweating my makeup off, like sweating my hair. And so I was like, we should do it in the morning, but like I didn't want to make him like wake up on a Saturday morning slash like I didn't want to wake up on a Saturday or Sunday morning. So we end up doing the pictures on Juneteenth because I was off that day and I was able to do it in the morning. And I like didn't even have my outfits planned out. Like that's when you know something is wrong with me, like that I'm not doing okay, is when I have something coming up and don't have an outfit picked out. Like I always know what I'm going to wear to everything. And so it's like 2 days before the photo shoot or like we decided on like June 19th, I swear, on like June 17th. So like June 18th, I'm like, fuck, like what am I going to wear? I don't know what to do. And I'm FaceTiming Zoe and Zoe's like, she didn't have work either. And she was like, do you want me to come over and bring you some options? And I was like, please, dear God. Like, I had no idea what I was going to wear. Zoe comes over the night before and saves the day. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why didn't I ask her this like multiple days in advance? Like, if Zoe hadn't have come, I would have like been completely down bad. Like, so Zoe comes over the night before. She sleeps over because she didn't have work. So she was able to come for the photo shoot. And the first outfit I try on, like we love, it was like a red dress that I actually wore as a top, tucked into like a red puffy skirt with a red belt and like these big red shoes. Everything in that outfit was Zoe's except for the shoes. And it was the first outfit we tried on and we were like, okay, this is it. And we just loved it. And then my hair, okay, this is so I was when Zoe came over, my hair was in this like super messy bun and we were like laughing at it. And I was like, it kind of doesn't look that bad. Like I've never worn like a bun updo before. I just had never been able to figure it out. And Zoe was like, yeah, it actually like looks kind of good. And then in the morning, we like recreated it and made it a little better. And it looked so good. And I've never worn my hair in a bun like that, but now I wear it like that all the time. It's literally all I can wear. Like it is my summer hair. I was wearing it like this before I recorded, but the fan was like blowing the side pieces and it looked weird. So I just took it down. Um, and then Vivi was able to come too in the morning and like I was almost getting like cold feet, like telling Vivi to come. I was almost gonna be like, no, don't worry about it. But like, thank fucking God that she did. So it was me, Zoe, Vivi, and Colin. And the day before, this was the other thing too. Like the photo shoot just became like so daunting to me. And it was something at one point that really excited me. Like doing a photo shoot in New York, like that's so fun, like wearing a fun outfit and taking cool pictures and like getting to edit them and like making my poster. Like at one point, that was like so fun to me. And then when it was 2 days before, I was just like, I don't want to do it. Like, I can't do it anymore. And I thought originally that I wanted the photo shoot to be like New Yorky because like I live in New York now, whatever. But then like I thought about it more and I was like, I feel like it needs to be like Brooklyn vibes because I was looking at like, bodegas or magazine stands or like taxis. But then I really thought about it and I was like, I'm not a Manhattan girl though. Like I love living in Brooklyn and like I love living in Bushwick. So the night before, Jack and I walked around to some like industrial areas of Bushwick near us, like to see all the graffiti and to like location scout. So I wrote down a few places and I just found this like kind of, few blocks that had a lot of like graffiti. It's really just like car part shops and like warehouses. I don't know. It's kind of scary over there, but only like in the daytime it's fine. So I found some locations and I was just like nervous about that. I was just so scared of like, being the leader of this group and like Colin being like mad because I didn't know exactly what I wanted. And it's like having a creative vision is really, really hard. And it's like having doing a photo shoot, it's not just like taking pictures. Like there's a lot that goes into it, okay? And I definitely was a little deceived by like how, I don't know. Like I thought, okay, but here's the thing though. So I was like kind of freaking out, but like when Jack and I saw the locations and I found some like graffiti art that I liked, and I just wrote down like street corners, and I was like, okay, this place and this place is cool, this place, and made sure it was all walkable. So I told Colin, Zoe, or Colin and Vivi to like meet me at a coffee shop that morning. And then I like sent them like the route that we would go along. And then Zoe comes over, we pick out the outfit and like know how I'm gonna do my hair, and I just immediately felt so much better. And then Zoe sleeps over, and then the morning we wake up and get ready, and then we go meet them. And like, it was just like the four of us, and like, truly, it ended up being so much fun. Like, I'm so glad that I didn't chicken out because I was so close to chickening out of this photo shoot. But like, we didn't even take pictures at like the exact murals that I'd written down. We ended up like kind of going just like around more. It was so fun. Colin is so incredible to work with. Like he the night before was sending me like all this stuff on Pinterest. Like he made several boards for me, like one for poses, one for colorway, one for clothes. And I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck any of this is. But he finds this one picture, this inspo picture. I'll put it up here. It's like this woman with like a martini in one hand and like a cigarette in the other, but it's like being handed to her. And I was like, oh my God, I love that one. So Zoe has this like decoy martini glass. It's like a piece of decor, but it looks like a real martini, but like it's plastic. And so she brought that over and just like as a prop, because that's the other thing you need for photo shoots. Is like sometimes it's not enough to just like stand there and look cute. Like you need like dynamicism, and like you need to like hold stuff or like make it engaging, especially because like I was going to take my new podcast picture too. So I wanted like something for like podcasting that's just like fun and not just me standing there. So we have this martini glass, and I bring a cocktail shaker and a microphone, and then we find this like tennis wall. So we have Vivi on one side holding the microphone, and then me holding the martini, and then Zoe is pouring water from this cocktail shaker, and then Colin saying like 3 2 1, and then Zoe starts pouring, and then like he's taking the pictures, and they turned out so good. Like I feel like I was like they looked amazing. It was such a good idea on Colin's part, and like the martini glass, like thank God that we had that, and it looks like a real martini. It's not just like a fake glass. And like Vivi being there, like I'm so glad that she came. Like we needed all the extra hands, and like once we got that picture, we were like, okay, like this is so good. And then we did one more location, and then that's where I took the main picture that I'm using for the promo, like sitting on this ledge. And it was just like the most fun morning. Like we spent like 2 hours and kind of just like hung out and like took pictures, and we had music playing. We were listening to Charlie XCX, and like it was just so fun, and like I totally want to do that again. So then once I had those, I was like able to post, and I was like playing around with the graphics, and I started getting excited again, and I kind of got this second wind of like excitement about the show. Like now that the pictures were real and the pictures looked good, and I was making my graphic, and literally Heinous and Friends, I was like at peace with that name, and I was fine about losing literally the best night ever. And so then I post a few Fridays ago. It was like June 28th, I think, maybe, or maybe the Friday before that. And well, first I make the Eventbrite. There was a whole like going back and forth about like should I do Eventbrite or should I do Partyful, which is this kind of like website link that like a lot of people in New York use. And I like didn't know what to do. So I was charging $10 for the event because it was really important to me to have everyone get a free drink upon arrival, because I want to curate literally the best night ever. And I wanted, well, first, when I first thought of that, that was like the first idea that I had for the show back in May was like, I want people to have a drink when they walk in. Like, it's so fun to like go somewhere and like you get a free drink, and like it just like sets the tone for the night when you like walk in and like you see people, and then like you go get your drink, and you just like start the night off strong. And it's so important to me for people to come to my event and have fun. Like that is all I want to do in life. Like I just truly, like, my happiness is bringing people together for just like a fun as fuck night. Like I love when people have fun because of me. And so I wanted to offer people a drink when they first walk in. So that was what the $10 really covers. And so I worked it out with a venue that like I could offer like a $10 special and everyone's like first drink would be free. So I was deciding on doing Party Full or Eventbrite, and I ended up doing Eventbrite only because I thought it like looked more formal and I just thought it was like a more legit way of doing things. And then Venmo or Party Full would like prompt people to Venmo me and like they could RSVP if they like confirmed that they Venmoed me, but it wasn't like it was more just honor system. And I looking back, I think maybe I would have done Party Full, but I just like the look of Eventbrite a little bit better. And I just feel like people doing an Eventbrite and like with your credit card info and it links to your email, it just like legitimizes it. And I felt like Partyful kind of lends itself to like flaking because Partyful is used for like, house parties and pre-games or whatever. And I thought I didn't want people to like think that my event was just like a pre-game or something like that. I don't know. But I did Eventbrite and then once that the link was live, I sent it to all the homies like before I posted it and I was like, "Hey, like get your tickets." And then I posted it on Instagram on a Friday, which I never normally post important stuff on Fridays, but I did it anyways. And it was so fun. Like I immediately got so many responses, which was so exciting. I got like people that I haven't heard from in a really long time that weren't even on my original list that bought tickets. And I was like, I didn't even know you lived in New York. So that was really fun. And then the next day around like noon, I had like 15 tickets left. I originally listed 55 because the venue could host 60. So I wanted to leave room for like the comics. And had like 15 tickets left and I like do one more push on my Instagram story and then like I sold it out by 1 p.m. It sold out in 24 hours flat. And I was at drinks with like Jack and some of his friends and just like checked my phone. I was like, holy shit, it sold out. Like I sold out my fucking show in 24 hours. Are you kidding? Um, and then I started getting the text from my friends who were like, what the fuck? I was busy and like I was gonna do it today. Like, huh? And then so that's when I was like, oh God, like and I had people starting to message me and just like, I didn't get them or like I meant to, but something came up and I'm like, and it was like kind of crazy for a second. I was like kind of freaking out. And then I will say it's not like a bunch of random people found the event. There are a couple people on the RSVP that I'm like, who the fuck are you? But it is mostly people that I know. And then a couple of Carmel and Emily's friends. I did have a friend from high school who's flying in for it, which is I'm so like flattered. Like, thank you so much. Um, but yeah, like a couple people that like I am really close with were like, what the hell? So I texted Camilo, the guy that runs El Santo, and just said like, so much interest for the event. Like, can I add a couple more? He let me add a couple more, and I had to just like give them to like my really, really close friends that still didn't get tickets. Um, but that being said, I do have like a wait list of like 15 people, and I just am like overwhelmed, not overwhelmed. I'm very grateful, but a little like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I wish that I don't even know how to put it into words. I want everyone to be able to come and I wish that it didn't sell out so quickly. Is that crazy to say? But like I am really flattered. And this whole time, like when it was selling really quickly, like I am very aware that like it is only selling so quickly because like this is my first show in New York. So I'm training myself for like the next show because this is something that I want to do quarterly that like the interest will dwindle. And like yes, I sold out my show in 24 hours and like that's really great, but like the more shows I do, the less people want to come, which is fine. So I'm just like keenly aware of that and like trying to like prepare myself not to be disappointed. I mean, it's the same thing with my podcast. Like even when I launched my podcast, like my first few episodes are still like my number one most listened to, except for my Alex Earl one, shout out. And like not as many people listen or like not as many of my friends and family listen. And like that is fine. Like I have known that from the beginning. I've always maintained that like I'm not, I don't care. Like if I don't like keep score of like who supports me and whatnot. I am really excited. Like, there's a few people that bought tickets from the show that I haven't seen in a really long time. Like, I didn't even know like they still liked me. So I was like, oh my God, like that's so sweet of you to do that. And then some people that like when I was kind of like drunkenly inviting people to my show like 2 months ago, like they bought tickets and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think you were serious. And I'm excited, but I'm freaking out. So then what I procrastinated the most on for my show is, and is arguably the most important part of planning a comedy show, is finding comics. So when I booked the show, like when I first was like, okay, like full send, we're doing it. Like I knew that I was going to do 10 minutes and then Emily and Carmel were going to be on it too, and they would do 5 minutes. And when I posted the show, that was all I had. Like me, Emily, and Carmel. And like people would ask me, like, so who's going to be on your show? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. But for some reason, I just wasn't that stressed about it. And like I get stressed about a lot of things and like anxious about a lot of things, like especially when I'm planning something big. But like I just was not really worried about like finding comedians. And I just knew that I was like, I just wasn't worried. So in a part of me, I was about to, late June rolled around and I had my graphic and I was like, all right, I need to fucking post this, or I need to start like selling tickets, like a little over a month is like the perfect amount of time to sell tickets to an event. And I was like, I should probably find some comics. But it's like every time I like thought about reaching out to someone, like my stomach just kind of like churned a little bit. And I just felt, and I was just like, I don't know, like I'm too scared. And so I didn't. And I was like, I am just going to figure this out later because there's no shortage of people in Brooklyn that are comedians and like I'll figure it out. So I post the show and my friend from high school, who's like kind of a big shot now, Liam Nelson, reaches out to me like almost immediately and is like, hey, like I do comedy in New York. Like if you haven't filled your lineup, I'd love to do it. And I was like, oh my God, Liam. Like I literally thought of asking him, but I got too nervous and didn't. And when he sent me that, like I was like, dude. And he like started sending me like his credits and like sending me like a video of him. And I was like, Liam, you do not have to pitch yourself at all. Like you are in, like, thank you so much. I was so happy that he reached out and I just, like told him yes. And then we talked on the phone a few days later and I just told him about my vision and what I wanted for the event. And at that point I'd sold it out. And so he has just been like a wealth of information, was just saying like, oh, you have a sold out show in Brooklyn. Like, yeah, I could fill your lineup 20 minutes before the show. And I'm like, okay. And then he starts like listing names. Oh, he's like, okay, I could get you this person, this person. And every single person like was a name that I recognized. I was like, oh my God, like shut the fuck up. So once he joined, I was kind of just like, I fucking knew that like I was onto something and that there was a reason that I wasn't anxious about this. And like, I just knew that like, I think I didn't know it, but I think in the back of my mind, I just knew that like once I posted the show and like got it out there and like sold tickets and like had a show, then I could like fill the show. So then ask another guy in the comedy scene named Richie, and he says yes. And like that was a huge win for me because I just think he's like so cute and so fun. And then I asked my stand-up teacher Maggie to perform and she said yes. And then like after that, I was like, okay, perfect. Like I really think that I have like a perfect lineup. It was very important to me to have like relatable comedians, not like relatable in the sense like, you know, normal or whatever, but like comedians that, can reach a wide audience and that like talk about normal things. Wanted comedians that are like high energy and fun and like accessible comedy that people that don't see a lot of comedy or aren't like comedy connoisseurs can just appreciate. So I have such a good lineup and it's going to be so fun. And then the other day, my dad told me that he wants to do 2 minutes. And I was so excited when he sent that because my dad immediately, like when I told him about this, he was like, I'm coming in for it. You can't stop me. And I'm like, okay, great. Like I definitely wanted my dad there. And then he told me he wants to do 2 minutes. So I'm like, that's so fun. So my dad's going to be opening the show. I'll do 10 minutes and then we'll have the other comedians and then we're just going to party all night. I'm super excited. I am like nervous and I definitely am in, because now I'm in the like hardcore logistics phase. Like I have everything booked and planned, but now it's like I'm really nervous about the tech and the AV and the microphones. So I'm just gonna go over to El Santo this week and like figure it out. And like, I just am really scared and I'm hoping for the best. But like, even if like worst case scenario, like the event, like what is the worst case scenario? I guess like the microphones don't work and then we just kind of have to like talk loudly. I think it'd be okay. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more worst case scenarios than that, but I think it'll be good. And this is definitely something that I want to do quarterly. I'm thinking, a couple times a year, I really like when I've been thinking back on like the times in my life where I'm like the happiest I've ever been, or just like when I really feel like I'm flying. It's when I'm like curating events and it's when I'm like bringing people together and like creating something like in person and fun. Like I think of like my improv festival in my senior year of college when I was president of Fishbowl and I planned like the 2-day improv festival, and like it was so fun. And like we had our major hiccup was like right before my team was about to do like our musical improv set, because we got really into musical improv that year and we had an improvisational pianist and it was so fucking awesome. But the keyboard wasn't working. Like right when we started our set and he goes to play, like we're already improvising, he goes to play his first note and he's like, it's not working. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. So we kind of like pause for a second and he's like configuring the piano, and I say to my friend Ian, I'm like, Ian, tell a joke. And Ian just immediately starts like doing his like type 5 jokes, because Ian did stand up, and I was like, do a joke. And he does a 3-minute joke and like the audience like totally is dying laughing. And like right when he finishes like the punchline of that joke, the keyboard was working. And like everyone was clapping and I was like, oh my God, thank fucking God. And then we had like an amazing set. And then that night we had an after party with like all the college teams came in and the professional teams. And I didn't want to do this, but like the other girls on my team convinced me to get confetti cannons. And I was like, no, that's so lame. And we did do that. Like I gave a little speech at the after party and then my friends shot off the confetti cannons and like we played music, and I just like there's a video of me, but like in that moment I was like, this is the best feeling in the world. Even when I planned like the prom for like being a tour guide, like every other ambassador prom was just like at someone's house. And when I was social captain, I was like, let's like do it up. So I was able to book an event space like on Ohio State's campus, and like it was so fun. And that event is where everyone got a free drink upon arrival too. So that was when I kind of realized like, okay, like this is a good incentive. And we did like superlatives and awards and like prom king and queen. And then afterwards, like I had so many people coming up to me being like, this is the best ambassador prom I've ever been to. Like I had people telling me it was like the best night of their lives. And I'm like, this is like, and I was like high on life. And then even the We Are Family talent show, Taylor and I scrapped together in an afternoon, like, and 80 people showed up, and like people just told me how fun it was. And like consistently people still tell me that like it was one of their favorite WAF memories. And I was just like, it was just so nice. And it's just so fun to like make a night for other people that's fun. And I just like, I love to have fun. Like I've been thinking a lot about like who I am as a person, not to like get deep, but like I've been thinking about like the literally heinous and like what that means and like where I got it from. And I called my podcast literally heinous because, it's a phrase that I would say a lot to like describe other things. And like it's just something that like people have always kind of like made fun of me for like saying things are heinous. And like when I first thought of that name for my podcast, I was like, that's it. And then when I was making my logo, like, and it said like Lily Maslia presents literally heinous, like Lily Maslia is literally heinous. And I'm like, yeah, I think that the call is coming from inside the house. Like I'm literally heinous. Like for the last couple years, I've spent a long time reflecting and like feeling a lot of shame around how crazy I am, like sometimes when I'm drinking, or like thinking about like how many things I've done that I like don't remember, and like all the anxiety and being like, oh my God, I was so heinous last night. And like I am literally heinous, and I'm not really like running away from that anymore. And I just think that I want to embrace it now, because it's like Lily Masley is literally heinous. And I think that's kind of cool. So I think that's maybe like the whole thing with the name like wasn't really that bad. I think I really just needed to embrace that like I am literally heinous, and I don't even think being literally heinous is a bad thing. I actually think it's kind of fun and gives me some edge. So yeah, I think I'm really excited about it, and definitely want to do this more. I want to host it in like different event spaces around the city, and I'm just excited to see where it takes me. So definitely we'll be doing an update. Taylor from WAF is coming for that whole week. So Taylor and I co-ran the We Are Family talent show together. So like when I planned this event, actually, I totally forgot that like the whole reason I kind of picked this date was around her because she was coming to stay with me for that week, like including August. And when I thought of the idea of like having the comedy show, I was like looking at my calendar and I was like, oh, maybe I should do it when Taylor's here. Like she would definitely be someone that I want to help me with. So that was honestly the reason why I picked August 2nd. And so she's going to be here and then she's going to be such a huge help. She'll be working doors, and then we will definitely do a recap episode morning after. So stay tuned for that. Bye.